Assemblyman Shajian's here, and he's going to present item 16, AB 1178. So, Assemblyman, you have the floor, and welcome to our meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members.
And for the public, this is vehicles. This is from manufacturers and distributors. Item 17. Item 16, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr.
Pardon
Chair.
me, I'm sorry. You have the floor, sir.
I'm here to present AB 1178, which will strengthen California's current laws by prohibiting manufacturers from taking negative actions against a dealer when a vehicle is exported or resold after the dealer has collected sales tax and registered the vehicle in California. 2 years ago, the legislature passed and the governor signed SB 155 by then Senator Padilla, which created a reputable presumption that a dealer did not have knowledge of the intent to export so long as the vehicle is registered in California and the sales tax is collected. Unfortunately, California's motor vehicle protection laws did not anticipate that certain auto manufacturers will ignore these recently passed laws and export and resale policies. Okay. These manufacturers have instead enacted punitive practices against dealers, including holding franchisees strictly liable for exported vehicles, even if the dealer collects sales tax and registers the vehicle in California. The punitive practices include reducing vehicle allocation, withholding or charging back incentives monies, and threat of terminating the franchisee agreement. AB 1178 prohibits manufacturers from taking a negative action against a dealer when a vehicle is exported or resold if the dealer collects sales tax and registers the vehicle in California. I have with me Cliff Costa with the California New Car Dealers here to testify in support and answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair and Senators, thank you. Cliff Costa on behalf of the California New Car Dealers Association. I'd like to thank Assemblymember Asajian for doing an excellent job describing what the bill does. Yeah. We're here because 2 years ago we cut a deal with the manufacturers associations on how to deal with export policies. And essentially what's happening is that people are purchasing cars from car dealerships and are then exporting them across the to other countries and making significantly more money. We are here to address an issue because one manufacturer has decided to ignore California's law, the law that was passed by many of you that you voted for. They're simply ignoring it. When we have pushed back on them, their response is to continue to ignore us. In fact, their response is to continue to threaten dealers that they're going to come after the dealers and charge them back or deal with vehicle allocations. And what does that mean? That means that it hurts local dealers when they don't know that a vehicle was going to be exported. And so we're here today with, we think, a very simple bill. And the simple bill says this, that if the dealer collects sales tax and registers the vehicle here in the state of California, and as long as the person they sold the car to is not on a known exporter list as provided by the manufacturer, then the dealer should not be charged back or severely punished by the manufacturer. We have been and are continuing to work with the manufacturer associations and are trying to reach some sort of compromise on a variety of issues. We will continue to work with them, but we are double referred, and so unfortunately we have to move the bill today. We respectfully request your aye vote. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Other speakers in favor, please. Okay, speakers opposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, Ivan Altamura with Capital Advocacy. We represent the global automakers. Our official position is opposed unless amended. The issue of vehicle exports outside of exclusive dealer and distributor networks that are set up around the world negatively impacts both the dealer and the manufacturers. And in order to deter such activity, it's really important that both manufacturers and dealers work together to prevent these type of exports. Recognizing that it's also necessary that we have a fair process in place. As the sponsor suggested, global automakers, members of the Alliance, as well as the California New Car Dealers negotiated in good faith in 2013 to develop the current system, excuse me, that should an onerous export policy by a manufacturer be instituted and enforced against a dealer, the law would provide both protection and recourse for both parties to assert their rights under their franchise agreements. This is a standard that is very common around the country. We believe that the current law, which was negotiated in good faith, went into effect January of 2014, and governs the enforcement of vehicle export policies in these automotive franchise agreements, is a fair balance that basically presumes that the sale by a new car dealer is not intended for export, while at the same time it provides a process for manufacturers to enforce their agreements should a dealer turn a blind eye to circumstances that suggest that a sale was headed for export. And as has been mentioned, although the current law has not been tested, Global Automakers, the Alliance, and the California New Car Dealers Association all acknowledge that there is one manufacturer whose export policy is ignoring the current statute and is driving this bill. While the policy has not been enforced by this manufacturer, nor the process tested, Global Automakers and the Alliance have been working with the California New Car Dealers and the author to try and develop some amendments to AB 1178 that will maintain the mutual protections while allowing for a process that provides both dealer and manufacturers an ability to assert their rights under a mutually agreed upon franchise agreement. And although we have not yet reached a compromise, the additional week, we appreciate the author putting the bill over 1 week, and for the committee putting the bill over 1 week. We are actively working with the sponsor and the author. We think we're making progress, but we're not yet there. So for that reason, we are opposed unless amended.
So we tried. We had it on the agenda last week, and then we put it over a week so the sides can get together, and you weren't able to get together, correct? Is that right? So
we were able to get together, but unfortunately at this meeting we're not able to accept or offer any amendments because it's double referred.
Yeah, it's going to the Judiciary Committee, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that, are you able to work with the other side to come up with?
Very much so, because it works hand in hand. The manufacturers want to see their cars sold. The dealers want to sell the cars, and the more they sell, the better. The more they make, the more the manufacturer is happy because their cars are on the road. So basically just the way free enterprise works.
Yes.
If I was to buy a car in California, pay the sales tax and the registration fee, it becomes more expensive. By the time I export it to whatever country it goes to, it becomes much more expensive. If the manufacturers have a problem with that, they could simply empower their dealers with whatever country it's getting shipped to. It's just how business works. But we're willing to be respectful of whatever laws there is. Unfortunately, as there is a manufacturer who hasn't paid attention to the existing laws and done something that's not acceptable to the local business person who happened to be in the car dealership business. But understanding that it benefits both the manufacturers and the dealers, we're willing to work, and we are working together, but with the exception that at this point, we have to move it to the next committee and accept the amendments prior to going.
So you're asking us to be accepting the fact that this is really a work in progress?
It is, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, so that's a common understanding, committee members. Questions? Okay, Senator Gates, yeah.
So can we assume that there would be agreement by the time this arrives on the Senate floor between the parties? Because I think the chair is right in that, to the degree that you can figure something out, would be wise. I think it's interesting that we did pass a law a couple of years ago that apparently, I guess, has been working to a certain degree, but there's been an issue with a particular manufacturer. Is
that's correct, Mr. Gaines, or Senator Gaines, excuse me. We are working with the manufacturers. We have had open dialogues and continue to have discussions. We can see sort of an outline of a compromise, but we're not there yet. They are truly a global organization, and they are trying to get their guys from around the country, around the world, to really come together, and I don't want to speak for Mr. Altamura, but we are working towards that. I can't commit that we're going to have a solution where they're going to remove their opposition, but we're going to work very hard to address the concerns they have, to address the concerns that my members have about the present state of the law when one manufacturer can ignore the statute. And what we're concerned about is if we don't try to protect our franchise laws, then one manufacturer does it today, it's 4 more manufacturers tomorrow, it's all of the manufacturers a week from now. That's the concern my members have.
Okay. And we are definitely trying to work towards a solution. Part of the challenge is that we have this current law that was negotiated in good faith that we believe sets up the right protections that give the dealers presumptions that their sales were not intended for export, but then gives the manufacturer the ability to prove up through the new motor vehicle board that that a dealer knew or should have known that a vehicle was intended to be exported. This one manufacturer that has this policy in place essentially is at this point a threat, because it has not been executed against any dealer. So what we have right now is a law or an export policy hanging over the head of the dealers for this particular manufacturer, but not enforced. So there has not been any affirmative, proactive action taken by the manufacturer that the dealer can then go to the new motor vehicle board to defend the or assert that this export policy is in fact violative of the current franchise agreement. So where we're struggling is how can we come up with an agreement that we can proactively address this one bad actor while not, throwing the baby out with the bathwater on all of the other manufacturers that do not have policies that on their face violate the current law.
Okay. I'm inclined to support the legislation, but I'd like to keep an eye on it so that when it does arrive the Senate floor, my hope would be that there would be reconciliation and both parties would be in support, but I'll reserve that vote. Thank you.
Okay. Other comments? There's a motion to approve the bill. Do you have any closing remarks?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I respectfully ask for what we're trying to do is protect the small businessman who's in business to sell cars and not to violate any laws that exist.
Thank you. We'll call the roll, please.
The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Judiciary. Bell?
Aye.
Bell, I. Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, I. Allen? Bates? Bates, I. Gaines? Gaines, I. Galgiani? Galgiani, I. Leyva? Leyva, I. McGuire? McGuire, I. Mendoza? Roth? Roth, I. Wachowski.
Okay. 8-0, and we'll leave it remaining open for other members to vote.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, members.
Do you have any authors here?
She was supposed to be on this one.
Do you have any votes we can cover? We'll go back through the roll and cover any votes from members that have missed some of the votes, so we'll call the roll on items. Members, we'll go through the roll and call the roll on items we covered previously until we get a member.
File item 2, AB 53 by Assemblymember Cristina Garcia. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 6-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Allen? Gaines? Gaines, no. Galgiani? Galgiani, aye. Mendoza? Wachowski. Okay, so that's 7-1.
That 7-1 will remain open until other members are ripe to vote.
File item 3, AB 63 by Assemblymember Bonilla. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 7-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Allen? Galgiani? Galgiani, aye. Mendoza? Wachowski. So it's 8-0.
The vote is 8-0. It will remain open to other members who are ripe to vote.
File item 4, AB 157 by Assemblymember Levine. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Environmental Quality. The current vote is 6-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Allen. Gaines. Gaines, I. Galgiani. Galgiani, I. Mendoza. Wachowski. That's 9-0.
9-0, that will remain open to other members' right to vote.
File item 6, AB 270 by Assemblymember Nazarian. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 8-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Allen. Gaines. Gaines, aye. Mendoza. So it's 9-0.
9-0, that will remain open to other members' right to vote.
File item 9, AB 516 by Assemblymember Mullen. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Public Safety. The current vote is 6-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Allen. Gaines. Galgiani. Galgiani, aye. Mendoza. Wachowski. So it's 7-0.
7-0, that will remain open to other members' right to vote.
File item 11, AB 744 by Assemblymember Chow. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Governance and Finance. The current vote is 5-3. Chair voting aye, Vice Chair voting no. Allen. Gaines. Mendoza.
Yes, sir.
Gaines, no. So that's 5-4.
5-1.
5-4.
5-4.
Or place the call.
That will place it on call.
File item 14, AB 932 by Assemblymember Daley. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Current vote is 7-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Allen. Bates. Bates, aye. Mendoza. Wachowski. 8-0.
8-0 will remain open. Okay, 8-0, we have an assembly member here. That will remain open until other members are right to vote. Assemblymember Lowe's here. We'll invite him to come forward, and he will present AB 828. Welcome. Assemblymember.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members, for allowing me to present Assembly Bill 828 along with the co-author Ling Chang. As you may know and have read, Assembly Bill 828 is a very narrowly tailored bill that updates an 80-year-old statute related to the DMV and classifying the personal vehicles associated with transportation network companies. In 2014, the governor signed Assembly Bill 2293 with Assemblywoman Bonilla, which clarified the PUC definition of a transportation network company, and that TNCs are defined with the organizations using a platform connected with drivers using their personal vehicles. And the biggest difference, as you may know, with the TNCs and every other type of vehicle use is that this is a personal vehicle, which is a distinction with that of a commercial vehicle, which taxi cabs are using. I want to respectfully yield some time also to my co-author, Assemblywoman Chang, and then also offer an opportunity to have discussion and questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Assemblyman. Assemblywoman, welcome.
Thank you, members, for your consideration of this important issue. AB 828 ensures our laws governing commercial licenses reflect a 21st century economy in a very simple and modest way. Earlier this year, the Department of Motor Vehicles attempted to take legal language from as far back as 1935 and apply it to modern ride-sharing services that have only recently came into existence. As you know, DMV issued a memo requiring ride-sharing drivers to register as commercial vehicles. In response, I sent a letter to the director of the DMV urging the department to reconsider this decision. An interpretation of the law in this way would needlessly subject thousands of current and potential rideshare operators to more red tape and higher business operating costs. The fact is, many of these drivers use their car part-time for ride sharing to pay for food, housing, or medical expenses. It simply doesn't make sense to require a single mom working for a few extra dollars to register her Honda Civic as a commercial vehicle. As these innovative platforms become part of our daily lives, it is important for the state's policies to adjust to the progressive marketplace and attempt to be as creative as the industry it regulates. Members, as a joint author of AB 828, I respectfully urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Witnesses in favor, please. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Alex Loip. On behalf of Uber Technologies, thank you for the opportunity to discuss this important bill. Vehicles driven by rideshare partners are not a company's 24/7 fleet vehicles. They are not returned to a yard or a lot every 8 hours. These are individuals' private, personal vehicles. These are the same cars that they take family road trips in. These are the same vehicles that they drive their kids to school and to soccer practice in. There is no public policy benefit to requiring hundreds of thousands of TNC drivers to re-register their vehicles as commercial. It will not make the public any safer. It will not reduce congestion or carbon emissions. It will, however, erect unnecessary bureaucratic and cost barriers, potentially hundreds of dollars depending on the weight of the vehicle in question, to those seeking an opportunity to earn additional income. I would like to thank Assembly Members Lowe and Chang for authoring this important piece of legislation. We respectfully urge the committee to pass AB 828 and give clarity and certainty to hundreds of thousands of Californians who rely on ride sharing to help provide for their families. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Annabelle Chang. I'm the West Coast Public Policy Manager for Lyft. Lyft is a transportation network company that is permitted by the California Public Utilities Commission. We are expressing our strong support for AB 828 and thank the leadership of the two authors. AB 828, as mentioned, updates a 1935 vehicle code to reflect the distinct TNC model. This bill only codifies the status quo, where TNC drivers do not currently have to get commercial licenses or registration. Rather, Lyft is the TNC permit holder with the Public Utilities Commission. We are regulated by more than 70 pages of a CPUC order, including trade dress, reporting, payment of a percentage of our revenues to the state. Now, today, members of the committee will certainly hear the term leveling the playing field for taxis and TNCs. But this is a flawed comparison. Why? Taxis in California are regulated locally with regulations that vary by municipality and locality. In contrast, TNCs hold a statewide permit and are uniformly regulated by the PUC. The PUC recognized the distinct nature of the TNC and created a different category in regulating us. Simply put, this is a comparison of apples to oranges. So requiring TNC drivers to obtain commercial plates is unnecessary and puts at risk the broad participation in TNC carpooling products like LiftLine that would help alleviate congestion throughout the state of California. Now, our long-term vision is to get people to share rides, and Lyft therefore strongly supports AB 828. We'd also like to thank several members of our Lyft driver community who have spent several hours here to come and express their support for AB 828. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. Welcome.
Robert Callahan with the Internet Association here in strong support. Thank the author and co-author for their efforts. This bill is intended to be a technical fix to an amount of ambiguity that was raised last year. The status quo, maintaining that status quo is very important. I know there's some high-level broad regulatory reform issues going about in conversations being had. That is not appropriate for this bill. This is a bill that requires some urgency on behalf of this legislature to keep ride sharing alive and well in California, which is something that I think everybody supports. The transportation system is benefiting from it. So this is an important fix that we think makes a lot of sense, and we're happy to engage in further discussions down the road as it relates to broader transportation reforms. I'm happy to have those, but would urge your vote on this measure today. Thank you.
Thank you. We have other speakers in favor. If you can come up to the microphone, sir, and just state your name and your position on the bill. Thank you.
Hi, my name is James Bailey. I'm a full-time stay-at-home dad and a part-time driver for Lyft, and I support AB 828. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moira Top on behalf of Orange County Business Council in support.
Jose Lopez, Lyft drivers in support of unamended 828.
Hello, I am Noah Harris. I am a driver for both Lyft and Uber. And from personal experience, having taken a vacation to New York last month, where the TNC drivers are required to have commercial plates, I came to find that they were not able to charge a competitive rate to that of a taxi cab in doing so. Because of that, I'm in favor of 828.
Thank you.
Jamie Price, TechNet, in support.
Austin Poplo, retired Lyft driver, helps my income, in support of this bill. Please pass it.
Hi, my name's Rain, and I'm a part-time driver, and I transported my children for many years and all their friends to many sporting events and never had to have a commercial license, so I support this bill. Thank you.
My name is Paul. I support AB 828.
My name is Abdurrahman Khan. I'm retired part-time driver for Lyft and Uber. I have to take my hat off for these companies for bringing such profound value to the public at large. Thank you again.
Name is William Phillips in support of AB 828. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kim. I'm a part-time driver for Sacramento. I support AB 28.
Tarek Myers, recent graduate, and if it wasn't for my on and off use of Lyft, I wouldn't be able to get a degree, so I fully support. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Byram, a bean counter by day and a Lyft driver by night and weekend. I'm on the road quite often.
Okay. That was interesting. Okay.